Sean with Voices Live On, and I'm speaking with Ryleigh Lynn. Ryleigh, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. So, where are you located?
I'm in Carmel, Indiana.
In Carmel, Indiana. And your husband's name is, what is it?
Lawrence. It's
Lawrence.
Lawrence.
And you guys have been together for about 4 years now, married for a couple years.
Yep, going on 2 years. Yep.
All right. So, we're going to be doing a little bit of history of your memories of Jim Beatty. And your father is Jim's son, which is Jay, and Tier's your mom.
hmm
And you said they've been together for essentially about 32, 33 years or so.
Yep. Yes.
And you essentially are 30. So you came around a couple years after they basically got married.
Yep. Yeah. About 2 years after. Yep.
Do you happen to know where they got married?
I know it was somewhere in Indiana. It was outside at some sort of like art garden place. I don't remember exactly the name, but it was on the 4th of July.
Okay. So we're going to go in here for a second. And this is a shot of Jim and Phyllis. And they were your grandparents. Jim is still alive. Phyllis obviously passed away a few years ago. But Jim's coming up on his 94th birthday. So what's some of the very first memories you've got of being around them, and where was it? Was it at their house, or just kind of bring us back to that?
Yeah, it would definitely be at their house. Just when I was younger, I remember I really loved their stairs. Their stairs were very narrow, and I would like slide down them like on my butt. Like my brother and I would do that. We would throw things down their laundry chute and then go get them. But yeah, we stayed at their house pretty often when as I was a kid, or we would just, go there with my parents mostly. And sometimes I would see like my cousins Garrett and Claire, um, my great grandma as well.
How would you describe your grandmother, and what's some of the things that you used to do with her when you were little?
Oh my gosh, my grandma was just one of like the sweetest people I ever knew. She would always call us like to talk to me, my brother, my mom, and if my dad was home, him as well, talk to us on the phone, just like about our days, our lives, what books we were reading. I remember always like drawing at her house. She would hang all my pictures up that I drew. She would do that for, all her grandkids. And she had pictures my dad drew when he was a kid, and, pictures like Garrett drew, I remember. And, she would just hum and, sing. She was just very kind and, always just supported me and, everything I did. And,
Do you remember
just
going
very,
around town, like going around town with her? Did she kind of take any place?
yeah, like I remember going to the Children's Museum with her and my grandpa. That was I loved going there so much. And she was always very attentive and, just loved to spend time with us, and I like spending time with them as well. So um I do know we went to a play, High School Musical when I was a little younger. We also took the pizza train, uh, which it was a train station, I think in Fishers, and we went to Pizza King, and her and my grandpa and my brother.
So I know that you also got to travel a little bit with them, and you got on to Florida to Longboat Key.
Oh yeah.
What's some of the memories of going down there?
Yeah, I remember going there. I don't remember specifically a whole lot, but I do remember going to this restaurant called the Daiquiri Deck that we would often go to. I would go with my parents and brother, but we'd also, go with my grandparents. And that was just kind of like a specific like spa or like restaurant that, I have in a lot of my memories.
So like if you were going to describe their dynamic between Phyllis and Jim, how would you describe how they got along, and just kind of their team?
Yeah, I mean, they got along great. I mean, I just think there was a just calmness around them always. Like they just were each other's people. Like they loved each other. You could tell like it was just they fit together. That was it was just, like they took care of each other. I remember she kept a scrapbook, my grandma did, of a lot of things from my grandpa. He wrote a note to her in college, which is where they met at I think Michigan. It was Michigan University or University of Michigan. But, he just wrote her hi and like she kept that for, all those years. And I just thought that was so sweet. And, he would take her places, like they would go, I know he would like take her to church and like he didn't want to attend, but he would always take her and, just wait for her. And
You've gotten older and you've been able to kind of get to know, let's say, Phyllis a little bit more and about her life. What are some things about Phyllis that kind of stand out about things that she was involved with and maybe some things she accomplished?
I know that most of what I know, I think, is probably what my parents have told me. My dad, I think that she worked as a nurse of some sort, I believe. And I hope that I'm right about that, but it may have been something else. And my apologies for not remembering, but um, I mean, what I remember her is just always like supporting me and everything I did. I used to do ice skating. She would come to my ice skating like competitions that I did. And, I just remember her always being like just a sweet person. And, everyone loved her. I don't know anyone that didn't get along with her that she, wasn't nice to. So, I just remember being like the sweet person. And
So Jim was a big fan of the Pacers, still is. Did you go to any games with them?
yes, I do remember going to at least one. And I can't remember if my grandmother was there or not, but I do, and she probably was. I think she was. But yeah, I do remember going with my grandpa and my brother. And I don't remember like what year it was, but um I had fun. I know that.
How would you describe Jim as a fan? How was he kind of reactive at the game? Or a little bit of knowledge of the sports or whatnot?
I mean, to be honest, I don't remember much. But yeah, I mean, he was definitely into it. Like he would be like watching very intently, like, you know, cheer, clap, it's he definitely likes sports and my dad must have got that from him as well. They both really enjoy sports. So
Well, that's kind of a good point. So what's some of the similarities you see between Jim and your dad?
well, I guess one is that they both as or work as attorneys. My dad worked at the same law firm that I also work at as my grandpa. Um, he started the law firm with a guy named Bernie Landman. And so, my dad ended up working there years later and is now the owner. But also sports for sure. They both like their sports, Pacers, especially. I know that, my grandpa's a fan, as you said. My dad's a big fan of the Pacers as well. Politics, I would say as well. They both, my grandpa was very into politics, even ran for mayor at one point, which I thought was very interesting and very cool to know. So I think, and my dad, they both are pretty like democratic, like liberal people, and I think are like into politics in that sense.
So your mom, what were some of the memories you have with your mom with Jim and Phyllis?
So I remember, yeah, she would always talk to my grandma on the phone, like with my grandma Phyllis, and she would talk to her for a while and then pass the phone on to me. And she was always like helping my grandma and grandpa. I know that when my grandpa, I think he broke his hip or had some sort of hip surgery. I know that my mom was helping him um, some with that, and she did help take care of my grandma. Um, before she died, she did, go to their house pretty often. Would help out. And so yeah, she was just, always very friendly, nice with them. Always, talking to them and like just good all around, good relationship, good communication. And
All right. So you mentioned the Obama election in 2008.
Mm.
Why don't you kind of take us back to that and describe what you remember?
I do remember going to my grandparents' house. My grandpa was having a little mini like viewing, I guess, of the election on TV. He had a bunch of his friends over, as well as my parents and I and my brother. I just remember being there and we were like waiting to see, who was going to be president. And I wasn't old enough to vote at that time, so I couldn't vote. But and I believe it, and I'm almost positive it was 2008 and not the next one because I did vote the next year or the next 4 years. I believe it was the 2008 one, and where he won, and so we were all pretty excited.
So what's some of the things that you've been able to understand about about Jim's position in politics and views on some certain things? Anything that kind of stands out that he's always kind of tried to instill on you and particular ways of mindset or whatnot?
Yeah, and I think what's very actually, interesting and I guess inspiring to me is how progressive he is for his age. Being a, white guy in a, red state, he has a lot of very like liberal and progressive views. He's kind of a diehard Democrat. I would say he ran as a Democrat for mayor in Fort Wayne, I believe it was, which I
That
just thought
was
was
in
cool. And
Indy. Yeah, that
I'm
was
sorry, it
in
was
Indy.
Indy.
Yeah, and
Oh, it was
also,
Indy.
yeah, and he ran for lieutenant governor.
Oh, that okay. I must have known that. I must have got them mixed up, but yeah, it's
But on with what you were
mhm.
saying about just kind of his political mindset.
Yeah, yeah. And so I just, I know that he supports. I remember for my birthday many years ago, I was doing a sort of asking for like donations or like money for like Planned Parenthood, and he did give me, he gave a donation for Planned Parenthood. So I, just helping out and always like, you know, having those values that I, also have and that I've also like kind of been taught from my dad and my parents. So,
Yeah, so what are
yeah.
those? That's you're kind of hitting on a good point. What are some of the things that you basically have learned from Phyllis and Jim about how to handle your own life? Like some ways that they handled theirs, and you think it's good to pass that on to you and eventually your kids and grandkids.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely just not being like judgmental towards people, just like being kind and like accepting people for who they are. Like, in, even though, my grandma, for example, was religious, but like she was not a hateful person at all. Like, she, was very cognizant of, and as my grandpa was as well, of like different things like racially, like, the oppression, prejudice, racism, all of that of like, minorities and, other people that don't have as much privilege, and being, white people, like they really taught me those types of values like that, to understand, the privilege we have and that, there are other people that aren't as lucky and fortunate as we are. I think that's, you know, just really good values like that I've always had in my life.
So, did you happen to remember or know that he started the first black radio station in Indianapolis, WTLC?
I did know that. My dad did tell me that. So that for sure, just goes to show like what kind of like values he had, and that's what he like instilled in, I think my dad, and me, you know, by way of that. So yeah.
All right, so this next shot here is you're up there in the corner, and then you've got some
Hmm.
young ones. Is that you and your cousins, essentially? Basically, that
Yeah.
all the grandkids together?
Yes, that is my brother, me in the sweater, Claire's in the pink, Garrett is on the sofa, well, or the recliner that my great grandma used to always sit in, and then grandma, Phyllis on the bed. Yep, so that's all of us.
So do you remember anything fun that you guys kind of did as all the grandkids together with them?
I do remember, I don't know if Claire was around this time, but I do remember going to restaurants. My aunt Lynn had a restaurant at one point and bar, and the restaurant was called the Jazz Cooker at one point, and sometimes we'd go there. I remember Garrett getting in trouble because he was like doing spitballs at the wall or the mirror. And that, now thinking about it, I don't know if that was at the Jazz Cooker or not, but there was some restaurant we went to, and we would go to different restaurants. I remember going to IHOP a couple times with my grandparents, and usually Claire and Garrett would be there too, and at least Claire was. But yeah, we'd go to different restaurants. We I know just play like at my grandparents' house, although I don't remember like a lot of specifics, but um, we always had fun.
Well, how about the holidays at your house? Like, what would that give me some holiday memories?
So they would not come to every single holiday. We went to their house for Christmas, I think once or twice, and then they would come most Christmases. They would stop by our house. I do remember, they would always, bring me presents, and my grandma, like she would ask for like she would try to get exactly like what we wanted. Like if there was something like I wanted, she would, try best like she wanted to get like exactly that. What it is that I wanted. And they always, came and like said hi and talked to. It would be like my mom's side of the family would be there. And so it was mostly my mom's side of the family, but she would, my grandma especially, and come like talk to everyone and, just like interact. And, everyone loved her, loved having her there. And, Jim too, yeah, he would come and just, we'd all talk and, you know, it was good times, good memories.
You happen to remember anything she used to cook that Phyllis used to cook?
I don't actually. She would make me food, I know, when I went to their house. But I don't know if I remember her like specific food that she like brought to holidays. And I don't know if she did, but when we'd have it at my house, or my parents' house, but um I know that she did make food for me. So I just fortunately like blanking on
It's all good.
what any of it
Garrett
was.
had mentioned a pig in a blanket. Did you ever have her pig in the blanket?
Oh, I think I may have. I might have.
All right, so here's another shot of you when you were young, with Jim. Was this at your house or their house?
That would have been at their house. I know, yeah, I think those were all at their house. Actually, the top picture, I don't know where that is. I don't That may not have been their house, but I know the bottom two were. Um, so yeah.
And I'm going to
I know
show,
that was their kitchen, yeah.
and then here's a shot of Lawrence, your husband. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what was it like for you to kind of introduce him to the family? And was Phyllis still around, or had she already passed at that point?
So she had already passed away, unfortunately. He did meet my grandpa. I remember we went over to my grandpa's house where he lives now. And he met my Aunt Lynn as well. I think, yeah, it was my grandpa, Aunt Lynn, and then my brother and my parents. Um, my brother's well, they're married now, but his I guess girlfriend or fiance might have been there at the time. I don't know if she was or not, but she I believe she was. But anyway, her name is Brandy. But yeah, I remember he met him, like, and he like is like, really respected my grandpa. Like he's like, he's so like talk about how just like smart he was, and like how, just knowledgeable he seemed. And, he was like really glad to be able to meet him. And, I was too. I was glad that, we could all meet and see each other. I was sad with that he wasn't able to be my grandma though, but
All right, so this next question, if Jim was in great shape, even though he's 94 right now, and you could take him anywhere on the planet and give him an experience, what would be something that you'd like to do with your grandpa?
oh my gosh. Huh, I mean, just what came to the top of my head would be just to maybe even go out of the country. Like my husband is Korean, and he actually grew up in Korea, and I think maybe it'd be interesting to like take my grandpa, and take some of my other family just to go there and like see, you know, how Korea is, explore, like just because I don't think he's been there, and I haven't either, but I might be going next year. So I mean, I think it'd just be interesting to be able to, explore and then, talk about just different, like compare cultures and things. And, you know, hopefully he would have fun with that. I'd also love to like go to Florida with him and, see Florida with him again.
Sure. All right. So, in closing, what would you like to say to Jim directly and also about his birthday coming up?
I love to say, Grandpa, I love you so much, and I've always been very grateful for everything you've done for me. Just all the knowledge, wisdom, and everything that you've passed on. I really admire, the types of values that you have, that you've instilled in me, as well as Grandma Phyllis, hers as well. And happy early birthday, or happy birthday whenever you see this. And thank you so much. Again, just I love you. Thank you.
Well, Ryleigh, thank you very much for your time today. I know he'll appreciate it. And are you looking forward to being able to watch the 14 that are completed now of his life story videos?
Yeah, I'll watch those. Yeah, and thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you very much for your time. And I look forward to interviewing your brother as well, and then your parents about their memories of him. And you have a great day.
All right, thank you so much. You too.